I think he can hear you pretty well.
Yeah, I can hear you.
If it doesn't crowd up too much.
Excellent. So we are now live from OER 17 in London in the UK, and we are virtually connecting from various parts of the globe. And we have on site Myrna Keefe and Tanya Dorey-Elias with Christian Friedrich. And I'll let them introduce themselves from that end. nice pan there, Christian.
Just a quick introduction, who you are, where you're based.
Hi everybody, I'm BC connecting here. I'm Muirreanne. I'm an academic developer based in a university in Dublin City University in Ireland, and I've recently finished an ED, which is looking at Twitter for professional learning. So I'm interested in open online spaces, issues of participation, social power, and effective reasons of participation.
And I'm Tanya Dorey-Elias, and I'm from Kamloops in British Columbia, Canada, and work with open learning there, and also interested in a lot of the same kinds of things. That, the use of, especially the use of the tools that we're creating in universities to empower people outside of universities to have a voice and empower themselves.
Sorry, I was busy typing and doing the multitasking thing here. Excellent. So Maha Bailey just finished off with her keynote. I was wondering what you all thought was going on there. I noticed some tweeting going on from at least one of you. Two of you, actually.
Yes, I was tweeting a little bit. I thought some of the themes that you had were interesting. Like this whole, the title of her keynote was "Hiding in the Open." And it resonated with me, I suppose, because I'm just after coming out of my whole doctoral research, and I was looking at how professionals in higher education use Twitter, and what I found was quite surprising in that some of the professionals that use Twitter, they actually were using it in a way that they were hiding on these spaces more so than being very strongly participative. They hadn't established social presence and hadn't established I suppose, involvement with a network of people. So some of the things that said that right, really resonated with my own research, and she mentioned also then issues of privilege and power in these online spaces. And what I especially liked, she said something similar to Bonnie Stewart, and they both seem to talk about, like, you know, we can be vulnerable going into these online spaces, and like who we are as women, as early career professionals, as like myself maybe, who, you know, you don't have tenure yet, putting ourselves in these spaces with our opinions and beliefs and being vocal and having voice online can be intimidating. We can put ourselves into vulnerable spaces. But what Maha and what Bonnie Stewart both says is, like, if we reach into these spaces, we get huge benefits from it. So that's what resonated from Maha's talk today for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think a lot of the same things. I think I've been really thinking a lot about even this virtual connecting. An open invitation goes out, and yet when it goes out, I didn't say, "Oh, me," because I have a sense that that's not for me. That that's for the smarter, brighter, more tenured, more experienced people. And it was, I'll get her name wrong every time we say it now, Maha. You know, she said, "No, Tanya, like, we mean you as well." And I think that idea that we need to not only create open spaces for people, but remind them that when we create those spaces, we actually mean for them, and people who've been outside need that extra support, and without it, continue to reinforce the privileges that we have.
Excellent. And I totally forgot to do an introduction of our virtuals. So I'll go around the horn here with Jeffrey. Gizzy's joining us as well, but she has no mic. And so we'll go Jeffrey, and then Graham, and then Mark jumped in, Nadine, and then Todd and Ruth, but it looks like it's Ruth. So go ahead, folks.
Good morning, I'm Jeffrey Duvall. I'm from Burlington, Vermont, and I run a nonprofit called Young Writers Project, and we have about 3,500 kids on our space, which is a phenomenon of civility and respect, where kids take creative risk because they know they're going to be supported.
Go ahead, Graham.
Hi, I'm Graham Steele from Glasgow in Scotland. Simply put, I'm a sort of open science enthusiast. I'm interested in things like open access to scientific material, open data, open knowledge, open source, all that kind of stuff. So if something is open and related to it, I get rather excited.
And Mark, I know you jumped in, so I'm not sure if we can hear you.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Oh, good. I have a iffy internet connection, so I'm just audio only. I'm a retired scientific glassblower and returning student in Oakland, California, just enjoying open education.
Nadine?
Hi everyone, I'm Nadine Abulmagd. I'm from the American University in Cairo. I'm the online content developer at the Center for Learning and Teaching. I'll keep it really short because I know we don't have that much time, but I'll come with my questions later on.
Thanks, Nadine. And Ruth, are you there with voice? I know I muted you at the beginning. And I can't unmute unless I play around too much. Sorry about that. Should be a little button at the top to unmute your microphone if we can get that going. I'm not sure if you have voice. We'll wait for reaction there. And why don't we go back to on-site, Christian, or does anyone in the virtuals have questions lined up? Feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I suppose a question I had in coming out of the keynote, and I posted it on Twitter. Well, anyway, a few questions, but one was towards the end, Maha was talking about like how we become inclusive, and it sounded like she was saying that it's a continuous process. And I was thinking, okay, how can I do this? Is it a reflective process? How do I continue that? So my question for Maha or for anybody here is, you know, I'm from a certain context. I'm from Ireland. It's a very small island. It's quite homogenous. There is diversity, increasing diversity in terms of race and ethnicity in Ireland. But to be honest, it's quite a white country, and I am from a middle-class background. How do we become more aware of diversity, and how, can I better my practices? I think part of it is being a reflective practitioner, but how do I become more aware, and how do I get involved in that awareness project for myself and others like me, or educators, to be more inclusive in open spaces?
Yeah.
Well, that's a big question, and I'm not sure if I have the answer.
It is.
And I like your tweet right now about who defines curriculum, and power equals gets to tell a story and when the story starts, and what story is privileged. I just retweeted that right now. Hey!
Look who's here.
It's Autumn and Mahabaili. Excellent.
Well,
Hi guys!
I'll jump in and just
Go ahead, Jeffrey.
And try to talk about inclusivity, because it's something that we've been working with for about 10 years online. And we've found that we work with much younger kids, so we're working with kids in their teens. And we find that by having one word in our community, which is respect, the kids value it and protect it. And so we've had over 400,000 posts, and got to say that all of them have been supportive and respectful, and even those that have been off the edge have been a kind of learning moments. And so once kids discover that, they also discover that their voice is equal to everyone else's, and it's an amazing thing that can be replicated in schools as well. So I think if the if there is a basic rule of trust and respect, that in that environment, it naturally goes to inclusivity.
I mean, I think that, and safety, because I think we all come to things with assumptions, and I think the spaces need to be comfortable enough that I can ask a question, or I come at something with my incorrect assumption, and somebody else can correct me, without there being judgment. So I think that that's exactly why that trust and respect and safety. Because we all come with assumptions, no matter where we come from. I don't know a way for us to get away from coming from within those assumptions. And I think the important thing is that we're willing to acknowledge that they're assumptions and then challenge them and change them over time.
That links in well to Muirreanne's tweet. She put it out let's say a poll on open opportunity. Is Twitter an open opportunity or perilous public? Okay, and I think we have that discussions a lot where some of us have our own context of Twitter, and then we try to throw our students into Twitter, and we don't realize that their context is so much different, or their background or their history of what's happened to them on Twitter. We got to be really careful about how we bring that to them. Other thoughts? From our virtual community. I got lots to ask. I've got some questions for Tanya as well.
Yeah, go ahead. You can ask Tanya if you like. I'm talking about my research a little later on today, so I feel like I'll double up on it if I say more now. But if you have a question for Tanya, please do ask.
So the point came up about a question of control, and I was reading Tanya's blog, and so her recent blog, she has a quote from Brent saying that school's like a prison. You have no power and have no say in what happens around you. I'm quoting, "It is a system that is awfully designed because they force everyone to learn the same stuff, even if they have absolutely no interest." So what can we riff off of that? Because that's a powerful statement there, and a wonderful statement. And so who really has the power in our schools? And how do we change that?
Yeah, so clear. I mean, so that was written by my son, who's 13, and so clearly he doesn't feel that he's got power. And I find, I mean, I believe in public schools. Again, this comes to assumptions and our beliefs about things. I believe in public school systems, and yet at the same time, my son writes something like that tears me apart and creates so much sort of conflict for us in our own house about, will the public school system work for him? And I'm interested. I'd love to hear people, his ideas and thoughts, but absolutely, it actually, that tears me apart to hear him talking like that.
I owe you a comment there, but I just read it this morning, so I'll get you that as soon as I can, Tanya, because it is wonderful. Other thoughts about power in open the open context?
I will talk a little bit more about my research, I guess, and so in that context, you know what I interviewed people who were using Twitter, all using Twitter, as I said, for professional learning, but they were from different contexts, they were all involved in higher education, they had different roles, but all involved in teaching or supporting teaching, and they were very gender varied, and also like tenure or not having tenure. And what was interesting about power was those who were, as I've called them, visiting the online social space, and they were early career, didn't do tenure, 2 out of 4 of those were female as well, while those that were quite confident and who were participating online in a social sense and developing relationships in the online space were male and had tenure positions. So I think that the data from that piece of research just shows that, these things are there, and it opens, I suppose, it's evidence to show that we need to be ever more aware of who we are, but also use it as a means of encouraging people. Because I had one person within the study who talked about preferring to lurk, but that she was moving into the space of establishing social presence and how that was benefiting her. Again, that I think resonates with Bonnie Stewart and talking about networks of care and vulnerability. and also Maha today of hiding the open, huge benefits that we get from putting ourselves in a vulnerable place. And you know, even right now, if I want to talk about what's going on with me in this space, I feel quite vulnerable sitting here. It's my first time talking online about this, and I still have experiences of, oh my God, you read my blog post? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I put it out there because I want to, but yeah, I feel vulnerable. It will be read, or it could be, yeah, perceived in different ways.
I love that, because we try so hard to tell our students that writing on their blogs and making videos is all about their own reflection, and it's a bonus if someone comes along and sees it, and a bigger bonus if someone comments on it or brings it up. But it's true even for us, and it should be that way.
What's going on for me, I suppose, and other people that I've spoken to about blogging is, if I have, you know, been at a conference or did something in my own practice and I want to get a kind of coherent grasp on it, that's really why I create a blog post. It's like for me, for my own learning, and even though it does link to a network of people, but primarily for myself to make it more as a concrete artifact of knowledge, I suppose.
And I think too about power. I mean, I think, and it's interesting when I started working sort of with people who worked in the open. Some of the power, though, I think you can take some of that power back if when you can be anonymous. I think there's a power in anonymity, and I think sometimes as open educators who've created a persona and a career in the open, we maybe don't recognize the power of anonymity, the power of the safety that can create, the power of being able to write something without there being a fear that will connect with your public or your professional life. And I, you know, there's a balance there. And I don't know that I know what it is, but I think that there's an importance in finding ways for people to be free and open, but not putting themselves in positions of real risk.
Can I jump here with a very quick question? I know the majority of the time, or we always hear about the teacher wanting to go open and the students not wanting to do that, or it's not really the best for their context. But what about the opposite scenario where a student wants to go open and talk about the reflections and the research openly, but the teacher is the one that is against that sort of? What would you say to that? How would you go about a dynamic like that? So power-wise, I mean, should the student be the one in power to decide that they want to do this, or because the power dynamic is there, then they have to sort of go along with that? I was just interested to hear your reflections on that.
I mean, I think it certainly depends on the context, but I'd like to think that students have the ability they may need to do it privately or within the context for their teacher, but certainly I think as people, one of the benefits that we have living where we do, when we do, is that those things can also, even in a different format, be put openly online. And so in some cases, I think the answer is duplication. Right? The answer is that you do something in a closed sort of way, and you in some format release it openly as a choice. And I think there's benefits to giving, to allow it. Well, it's not even allowing, it's people taking their power back and saying, my teacher might want it private on paper in the classroom, so I will choose to, duplicate that and release it freely online. And certainly there are contexts where that might create an issue with the instructor, but my guess is there's not as many as we think there are. It would depend.
It's hard choices. How are you doing for time there? I don't want to have you guys sucked out from the event.
I think the next sessions are about to start, but I think from our perspective, we can go like 3 or 4 minutes longer and then head out to our sessions and be a bit late.
Okay, sorry for cutting you off there, Mer. Go ahead. I don't like to keep you away from the session, so I just want to make sure we're good.
I was just thinking there's a few different issues. Like, is it about sharing the content that the teacher was the curriculum, let's say, online? Is that the issue? Or, okay, that could be one issue maybe a teacher might have with it. But it's also about, the student bringing themselves onto that online space, and perhaps they are enabled to do this. Perhaps they are aware of respectful or ways of being online, not necessarily respectful, but being inclusive and representing themselves in the best way they possibly can be, and what the self is now is not the self that they want represented online forever. So I would hope that perhaps conversations like that take place in formal education, but I'm not sure. Do they take place informally in teenagers and in kids' lives? And this, I suppose, safety online.
Wonderful. Does someone else want to jot one quick last question in before we let them go? Busy typing away. Here she goes. She says bye all. Cheers. Thanks. Okay, well, I'll let you wrap up and get back to the conference. We can continue, those of us that are here virtually, but I want to thank Mara Keith as well as Tanya. I know my notes here, so I forgot Tanya's last name. And Christian, live from London. Thank you so much for using your phone, and that worked really well.
Okay.
Have a great day,
Thank you all for
everybody.
joining us. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I think I saw Rajiv. Excellent. So we still got Todd and Ruth, and I never was able to unmute you, and I probably can now. No, I can't. Oh, there I did. Are you there? Is that Ruth? Maybe not with a mic, possibly. You're still there, Nadine and Jeff.
Yep.
We can pretty well unmic it ourselves as well now. We're still live to YouTube.
I might.
I just realized I can mute and unmute. I can unmute people via the control panel, control room on YouTube.
I'm gonna have to let you guys go because
you got lots of stuff to do.
And Maha's panel is actually going on, and I
want to watch it.
Okay.
I want to watch it too.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, and nice to meet you both, and have a great
Very
day.
nice to meet you, Jeffrey.
Good luck,
Excellent.
Nadine, with whatever it is that you have due.
Oh, thank you so much. That's
You'll do it.
very kind. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. It was nice to meet you.
And
Like
thanks
that.
to you, Ruth. I'm not
Bye,
sure
Ken.
if
I'll see you
get
later.
on the mic, but I'll get in touch with you to make sure we can improve that for next time.
Bye,
All right,
Ken.
thank you, everybody, and I'm going to hit the stop broadcast button. Cheers.
Bye, Ken.